How do you create something that's different than everyone else? You do it differently than everyone else. Here at Copeland Creative, we specialize in telling captivating stories of wild people, wild things, and wild places. We don't just capture the story, we immerse ourselves in it. We are a diverse, multi-talented media house based in North Georgia, and if you have a story that needs told, we want to help you tell it.
Welcome back to Redneck Tech Podcast. No idea what podcast number this is, but we have today young face, Mr. Sam Edwards from Lumpkin County High School, right?
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to talk about first and foremost is I want to talk about how we met, and then how you got into this crazy line of work and being in 11th grade. But so just to give a little background from my end, Sam has been helping us with some projects with the University of North Georgia, which you've been working with UNG for a little while now, right?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. And first, well, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So you've been doing some video work for them, but how I heard about you initially was Harper Davenport. Harper's like, we've got this young kid named Sam who runs around and does all the video for, baseball, for basketball, for football. And I'd seen you on the sidelines before. I thought you were in college, which I was also sitting in the stands with my kids. And saw you running around with cameras. Obviously I saw you had an FX3 and, Sony glass. I'm like, well, he knows what he's doing. But I always judge people when I go anywhere I see somebody with a camera, and you usually can tell if somebody knows what they're doing just by the way they act or how they're shooting shots or angles. And, anybody that stands up and shoots everything, head high, everything always looks the same. And you're like, what is this guy doing? Like, I've been to weddings. I'm like, I can't believe they're paying these people. But, he's like, you should get a hold of him. And this was probably last year. And I was like, yeah, cool. That's awesome. He's like, you should probably meet him. And I honestly kind of wrote it off. And then we got asked to do some freelance work for UNG during the basketball season, just to do like the crowd stuff. I met you on the floor there, super, super nice kid, young guy. And, you were there doing freelance stuff for the basketball team, correct?
Correct. So
yeah.
I was working for their social media, putting out just game recap videos through that, March Madness run. So
yeah.
Yep.
So you've been you're almost entirely pretty much self-taught, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go into the story now?
Yeah. So I want to know, first of all, like how you got into it, why you enjoy it, why, I guess really you're going to be really relatable to a lot of people out there that are wanting to get into this. Luckily, you're one of the lucky ones that is figuring out what you enjoy in 11th grade. I had no clue what I wanted to do in 11th grade. It's much less, looking as far ahead as you are, and having a skill set. I had no skill. I was good at baseball. That was the only skill I had. In class, I went to class because I had to.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I was clueless. So, like, really just want to hear, like, your backstory, how you got into it, and then we'll just go from there, because I think it's going to be important for people to hear.
So my freshman year, going into freshman year, we were going to pick classes.
Freshman year of high school. Let's make sure we preface that.
High school. And I heard that AV was a free 100, AV tech class. And I had some friends in there, and I was like, I'll take it. Maybe we can do the pathway because it's just easy. The teacher advertises it, free 100. You don't have to do a lot. I was like, okay, whatever. So I go into this class, and I start to kind of find a love for it. And basically all I learned was the basic of the editing software, just how.
This was Premiere?
Yeah, we were actually on Final Cut. So I taught myself Premiere.
Okay.
But I learned it's kind of the same, just the basics of it, of
yeah,
pointer, cut tool, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a passion for it. I asked the teacher, I said, instead of doing like we had to make these, they were dumb videos, music videos, whatever it was. I said, can I go film spring practice for the football team? They had weight training 4th period, and I had it 4th period. Went, kind of did, this was like my first project. Filmed this video. We can look back at it. It was awful.
Oh, my first one was bad too, buddy.
But kind of through that process, like, I enjoy this. I really, think this could be fun. And at the end of that semester, I found out that that teacher was leaving. They got a new job, and the program was shut down. But she reached out to somebody else in the school and was like, "Hey, I have this kid who I think will be good at this. He wants to do this." Still, work was not very good.
Yeah.
And but I was the only one who was doing it because this program was shut down. So they're like, "All right," and I kind of started through that. That summer, didn't really film anything. But then the next fall, I was hired to be a PR intern is what they called it. But I was mainly doing broadcast stuff, and that's kind of where I found out, like, I was like, I think I would like to do something in the media industry. I didn't really know what yet, and it was really, I did broadcast stuff, like the live stream for football games. I was like, I really don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
I enjoy more of the creative stuff, and then bought my first camera November of last year.
How'd you afford to buy your first camera?
So had some saved up money, and then also I went to my grandparents. I was like, "Hey, I really think I could."
Little family money. I got you.
Went to them. I was like, "Hey, I really think I enjoy this. I can make a business out of this.
Yeah.
I would really like, I think it was an A7 III, and I was like, this camera, and it was like an 18 to 200 kit lens.
Yeah.
I was like, this will last me till college. I don't need anything better than this.
How long did it last you?
I got an FX3 basically a year later, so yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll be fine with this.
Nothing like lying to your grandparents.
Well,
first things
know.
first.
I didn't know. But, so did that. First football game I was allowed to film, I asked to not broadcast against Dawson last year, which was like the biggest game in Lump County history. I was so excited. I was like, I get to film this. Once again, the video we lost, but I made the video anyway. It turned out awful. But I kind of just was like, I really enjoy this. I feel like I could, I see people doing this like Georgia. Like that would be a lot of fun.
That was kind of my next question, not to cut you off, but like go into like what your inspiration is too, because pretty much everything you've done up until now has been sports, right?
Yeah. So I love sports. I've always loved sports, and I was like, I think I would like to do. I go to these events anyways. I'm like, this would be fun to. I see things on social media that are like great. All these guys are doing really cool stuff. I was like, oh, I think I could try that. And I remember going to Georgia Tech like a year ago, and bumped into my dad's college roommate who still works for the University of Georgia. He's maybe associate AD, something like that. I don't know his exact position. And he was like, yeah, we'll have you down for basketball. So this is still like coming to a basketball game. And I'm still like, I enjoy this, but I don't know if I want to make a career out of it.
You're in the 10th grade at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's December of, my 10th grade year.
Okay.
Go down, film UJ versus Chattanooga, meet the creative director for UJ, and kind of lets me shadow him for the day. And I think after that game, I was like, I really enjoy this. And I talked to him about kind of his job experience, and like he's got Texas football reaching out to him, trying to hire him and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like where I'm at. But I was like, I kind of saw there's money in this, there's jobs in this. I really enjoy this. I think it's one of the things. I'm like, I enjoy this. I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I was like, do what you love. You never work a day in your life. So that's kind of where I was like, I really think I can make a career out of this. Got some
career in the 10th grade.
Yeah. And I'm still like, I don't.
I like that though. I mean, I like somebody who knows what they like and knows what they want.
I've always known that. That's kind of what my parents always joke about. Like, yeah, he knows what he wants. He goes and gets it. But
yeah, I love that.
It's hard on them sometimes.
I can imagine.
So,
what do your parents do?
They own Stryker Marketing.
Okay,
in town,
yeah,
so
I know.
Do all
Okay,
promotional product stuff.
I do. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. Very cool.
So, through filmed Georgia basketball, sent him the video. The associate AD is like, hey, this is what I made. He's like, great. Maybe we'll have some more opportunities in the future. Kind of open ended. I was like, oh, thank you. And then basketball season last year, I got invited by Lee Glenn, who is the associate. I think he's the associate AD. I'm not sure. I run cross country with his son, so that's how I know him.
Okay.
He invited me. He said, hey, come to a game, film UNG. That was like one of the first. I think that was actually before UJ basketball. So went, met Olivia Dumphy, and then there was a videographer on staff at the time, Laura. Kind of met them, followed them around for the day. It was cool, and I was like, hey, I would love to come back and film more games. And they're like, basically gave me the come whenever you want. I was like, that's awesome. And through that, I learned a lot from her, and then I just learned a lot from, they gave me a pass for whenever I want. And
essentially the keys to the city for you to be able to learn.
Exactly. And I just, once again, it's just repetitions. It's the more videos you make, the better you get.
Yep.
And that's one thing.
I've tried to explain that to people. They think there's some magic bullet, and the only magic bullet is to go out there, shoot it, trying to figure out why it sucks.
I think it's even the shooting you get better at just through repetition, but the main thing is just the more you edit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, once again, I've taught myself basically all of Premiere, some of After Effects. It's still
No, I'm still not good at After Effects, dude, so don't feel bad.
so. But it's just you realize, oh, I can do this from the I know how to mask this. Oh, I can do this. So it's just
Here's how I get from here to here. Here's how I tell
itself.
this. Yeah, 100%.
And so I'll be laying in bed at night thinking about an edit, and I'm like, oh, I could do that using that, and it's
Yeah,
it's
you've
cool.
got an affliction, bud.
Yep. So I really enjoy it. It's like I mean, I'm sitting in math class and going, wait, on this edit I got coming up, I want to do this, and so I have to do that. Beside the point. But
So you're looking really forward to math class, what you're saying.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mullins. But so, got to film G-Day last year.
Oh, yeah.
Met some of the creative staff there, which was cool. That video was okay, not great. But the main thing about going there that day was meeting. I met UGA's creative staff, and I ran into some other people I knew, kind of followed.
Yeah.
And got just put a face with a name, which was cool. Video didn't turn out great. And then kind of baseball season, I just didn't film a lot. I was kind of running track, so didn't film a lot. My dad, so backstory, my dad went to UGA with Mike Mobley, who's the associate AD. They were roommates. He worked in sports journalism. So I still have some connections from back in the day. He told me, hey, you should reach out to Herb Vincent at the SEC. Go film that, see if you can go film the SEC baseball tournament. Gave me his email. He's like, look, I'm not going to help you, just you reach out to him. I was like, okay. He's like, you probably won't get anything. Just letting you know. Just maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Got an email back. Hey, you can come film it. I was like, that's awesome. So that was probably the most influential event to meet people, because I met people from Florida, Texas A&M, LSU, I'm trying to think of the other places, Alabama, Vandy. Who won that? It was Vandy who won it. And I met kind of the SEC staff who was working for Night Edie. But the amount of people, creatives I met at that event, has helped me a lot, because I've reached out to some of them. Hey, I got a question about things. And it's just one of those things. I think this community is really good. If you can network, people will help you get to where you need to get.
Dude, networking. I went to college, had a major in business. We had one networking event my entire college career, and nobody talked to you about how important networking is. And it's not who you are, it's who you know, and then what information you can get. And that's half the reason we started this podcast, is there's so much information that not only I've been given over the years, but that I felt like we could offer and to help people, get a leg up on stuff, because I've learned the hard way so many times. But anyway, I think that's incredibly important. But I have a question I want to ask you, because I already know the answer to this, but I want people to hear it from you. Every time you said you've done a video, you either said it's not good, or it wasn't great, or that one was okay. Have you created something that you think is perfect? Because I never have, and I don't think I ever will.
I think I've created stuff that's really, really good. I don't think there's ever a perfect video, because I'll go back, and when I, export that video, I'm going, this one is the best thing I've ever made. It's perfect. I'll watch it 3 times on Instagram and go, dang it, I should have changed that.
That's never going to change.
That cut was too long. All those, it's just.
That's never going to change.
I don't think, even if I were to sit there for weeks and go back through it, the second I upload, I'd go, I want to do that. And I think it's just part of the process.
100%. There's a reason that in this business you have to work on a deadline, because if we did not work on a deadline, they'd never get done, because we would tweak on them and mess with them till the end of time, whether it's audio, whether it's shots, whether it's, I think we could go back and get this one shot that would really add value here. It would make it 0.1% better. But if it's up to us, and especially Ryer, the more you hang out with him, if it's going to be 0.1% better to take an extra hour to do something, that's what he's going to do. And that's why we have to put deadlines on things. Otherwise, they would never get done. And they're never going to be perfect. I can't think back on one thing I've ever created that's that's perfect, and because they're not. They're just never going to be. It's just not how this works. And what we do is so subjective. That's the hardest thing especially when you start working for clients. You'll build something like a hype video that you did for UGA or whoever it is, and you love it. You show it to everybody that you know, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. And then you send it to them. What was in their head was different than what was in your head. You think it's awesome. Everybody around you thinks it's awesome, but the client, the person who's paying, is like, I was really hoping it would be this thing. And you're like, what? And then it's either gotten lost in communication, or the subjectivity of what you're doing. Like you pick some hypey hip hop, this, that, and the other, but they were thinking more of a slow, methodical, cinematic build, you know, or whatever it is. But, you know, the problem is, and what you'll learn more and more, especially working with, you know, various clients and various people, most people don't know what they want. They want a 007 movie on a YouTube budget.
Yep.
But they also say, hey, I want this thing and I want it to be perfect and I want it yesterday and I don't want to pay you anything for it. I want to pay you as little as possible. And the hardest thing is educating your end client that has no idea how complicated it is to make a good video and how long it takes and the manpower, the gear, the infrastructure, the technology, the music library, you name it. You know,
it's the time.
The time. They don't understand that process, and they want to know why you're trying to charge them thousands of dollars for a 1 minute video. And they're like, 1 minute video, you know, it's a throwaway piece of content for them. But they have no clue what went into that. And that's the hardest part. That's the fight that we fight every day, of trying to continue to show the value that we bring while doing it within the budget that we're given and still make money at the end of the day. Some we do really well on, very few. Others we barely break even. Some we lose money. You know, it's just part of it, and estimating how much something's going to cost. And like, for instance, like this UGA or this UNG thing that we're doing, like this newscast video started as one thing and it's grown into something else. You know, and projects evolve and they call and say, hey, we want to add this event to it. You know, they've done that 3 different times. It's like, yeah, we can do that, but it, you know, costs this much more to do it. It's not like, we don't work for free. I've done enough free work for UNG. I'm kind of done doing that. And luckily it's turned into some opportunities for us and hopefully more opportunities for you. And I guess what it's all about. You know, there's plenty of work to go around, which I'm kind of preaching to the choir of people that listen to this podcast. But, you know, there's a couple of things that I think if you do it and you do a good job and you show up and you answer your phone, you do what you say you're going to do, the work's going to be there. Be a decent person. Have a good time doing it. I mean, you can tell you've been in this office enough now. Like, we like to have a good time. Yep. Are we the best shooters and editors in the world? No. Will we ever be? No. But we're going to have a really good time. The people that are our end clients are going to know that they can count on us. And that's why we've been marginally successful. And I think that's why we'll continue to be. And I think that's, you know, that's something that, you know, you being in 11th grade, already having a skill set that, you know, who was I talking to? Somebody was asking me the other day about going to college. I'm like, what do you want to do? And they told me something. And I'm like, you don't need to go to college for that. Like, really? I'm like, no. And maybe some people out there might throw stones, but unless you're wanting to be a nurse or a doctor or something, gain experience doing what you're doing, and you can start making money. I mean, hell, you're already making money.
That's the fight I'm fighting with my parents right now.
Oh, dude, listen.
They understand it. It's just, you know, they want me to grow up a little bit.
I don't disagree with them there. You're already way more mature than I was in 11th grade for sure. And the world's a different place than it was when I was in 11th grade. But this particular business, I don't care if you got a degree. That wouldn't be the first. That would be the last thing I care about. And the beautiful thing, especially in the freelance or, you know, production company route, there's no cap on what you can make. Like for instance, you know, if you want to go and be a coach or a teacher or something and work in a system, if you don't have a 4-year degree, you're capped at how much money you can make. There's no cap. It's how hard you want to work. You know, how good your client is. And they're not going to ask if you got a degree. I ain't never been asked if I got a degree from a single client, ever. And if they did, I'd be like, what? Why do you care? You know, like Ryder doesn't have a degree. I don't care. You know, Joe does and Clay do, but I never asked them where they went to school when I went to hire them. I was like, send me something you've done. I'm like, that's good. You're hired. You know, are you a good person? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you answer your phone? Those are the things I care about. It's a college degree. Now, I'm not saying, I think in the creative space, that's very much the sentiment. I would much rather you come out of high school with 2.5 years of freelancing experience, because I know I can hire you and I can hand you this project, which you're already talking about trying to work and do some stuff with me this summer. I can hand you this project and I know I don't have to hold your hand. Like I can't tell you how many people want to come work here, locally or whatever. And they're like, I don't know how to run the camera, but can you teach me? And it's like, I can, but I don't have time. I don't have time to hold your hand. Do I have time to look over your work that's 3/4 of the way done or hand it to Ryer and let him? Yeah, I do that. But I don't have time to teach you if you've never picked up a camera before, if you don't understand exposure, if you don't understand how to pull focus, if you don't understand basic framing, if you don't understand how to shoot in low light, if you don't understand, some of the, the stuff that you already know, if you don't understand, I mean, heck, you're already shooting an S-Log. You're already, and explaining codecs to people and frame rates. It's like looking into the human brain for some people. But you start talking to me about, things about carpentry or some other things that, I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Because which I've told people this before, I'm good at about 3 things. And that's it. I suck at everything else. And this is one of the things I'm good at, is the video thing. And I am, in my opinion, the least, in terms of editing and shooting, I'm middle of the road in this office. There's better shooters and editors in this building than I am, and they work for me because I'll try and find people that are better at things than I am. I'm really good at relationships and managing people and, trying to get us more work and manage a business. That's the role I've tried to build and grow in. And the guys downstairs, that's not what they want to do. They want to be creative. They want to go out and do the things and have a good time. So do I. That's why I got into it. But in order for us to all grow, I have to fill a role. But in terms of going to college, there ain't enough money for me to go to college again. No chance. Now, if I just wanted to go and party and chase girls, really, that's the only reason to go to college, in my opinion. College was, I went to UNG, got a business major. College was not hard for me. I've always been a good test taker. I've always, I never really had to study. But, I don't know. Which I never partied either. I played baseball. I was afraid of getting thrown off the baseball team if I got caught doing something stupid. But
Salonic is not much of a party town either.
Yeah, it turns out. But I think that there's, I don't know. I think college gives some value in terms of, growing up and maturing. But I think you could get, if I would have been smarter and if I would have been in your position, no chance. Other than baseball. If I wouldn't have been playing baseball. Now, I wanted to go and play baseball in college, but if it wouldn't have been for baseball, no chance I'd have went. No chance. And my kids, if they want to get into this, I'm not going to make them.
No.
I mean, because I think there's, especially if they want to get into welding or electrical or something, some trade that they're going to come out of school making $65,000, $75,000 right out of high school or college, go for it, buddy.
There's no reason to.
Now, my first job in production, I didn't make any money, but I also was not qualified. I wasn't as qualified as you are right now, and I was doing this full time. I was clueless, dude. It was so bad. I thought I knew what I was doing, and no idea what I was doing. Worked 3.5 months with people that knew what they were doing, and it was like light bulb. It's like, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. But it's like surrounding, just like you said, surrounding yourself with people that do this for a living, that eat, sleep, and breathe it. There's no amount of class, there's no amount of tests, there's no amount of nothing that will give you the experience of being on a shoot with guys and girls doing what you want to do, that have done it professionally, that make money at it. There's not. And I would venture to say, in terms of learning from people, the guys in this office are about as good as they come. I mean, I've been doing classes for 10 years. And I love doing the classes. I really do. But our favorite thing, and this is, you've talked about this, and this is what we should go into next, is we're really good at long form stories. Yeah. Short form is not what we enjoy doing. Can we do it? Yeah, we can. But if you come to me and you said, hey, I've got a 10-part series that you could do that tells this incredible story of this person doing this really cool thing, or you can do 30 hypey cool sports reels. I'm taking this story every time because I just like a story. I like something with some substance, because to me that thing's going to live forever. and that short piece is going to be a flash in the pan. People go, "Oh, that was cool. Did you watch that?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it's gone forever.
In 48 hours, no one.
In 48 hours, nobody cares anymore. So I know you've done mostly everything you've done has been short form, and I know you're working currently or wanting to. Or is that a secret about what you're doing for the basketball team?
That's let's keep it a secret.
Okay,
Some people know, but
okay,
we'll hype it up when it comes out.
So tell me about kind of short form and pretty much everything you've been done sports, correct? Still
Yep.
haven't done anything else. You're wanting to do some hunt stuff now, I think.
I'd like to.
Walking around the
I'd like
office.
to. I mean, they have fun with it, so.
We do have a good time with that.
So.
So tell me about like short form and kind of like your background and why. I guess really the only thing you've been asked to do is short form so far, right?
It has. And then I guess growing up in the social media era of what's going on, it's what getting into it. Most people aren't going to go out and shoot a movie, and it's something that's kind of, I feel like, for some people more attainable. And I guess that's why I saw it.
It is definitely more attainable for sure.
Even just, I guess I consider short form anything under about 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
I mean, because I see people will post stuff that's 5 minutes, and I'm like, it can be considered.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that. I think short form is like under 90 seconds is how I think of it. But
yeah, I guess I could see that too. But there's sometimes I feel like people will tell or do short form stuff that's minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So it depends on, I guess, what the person. But I guess just the way, because right now Instagram and TikTok is just, that's where everybody is. And that's where I kind of, I guess, started, because I'm making these videos. I'm making these little recap videos, hype reels, and all this kind of stuff. And it's not really, telling a story enough to be, at this point I'm shooting with, one camera. And so I'm just like capturing the game, whatever. Go throw it into Premiere, throw a rap song on it.
Throw a rap song on it.
Throw some Phil Burns, maybe a sound effect or two.
Church it up a little bit.
So, and then that's kind of how I started. That's what I was making in the beginning. I definitely have, like, this year for football season, we made a couple trailers. We made one on senior night, kind of telling the story of this group. As they were freshmen, they went 0-10, and then this year they went 12-1.
Yeah, something that was a crazy run.
Crazy run. How this team's kind of changed the culture and that kind of stuff. So talking about how we're like thanking these seniors for what they've done for this community, this program, all this kind of stuff. And I had fun with that, even though it's still short form. I've noticed I kind of like telling the story a little bit more of that. We also had one when it was like the first time in school history, going I think 6-0. So that kind of stuff. I felt like when making those videos, I liked them a lot more than just the loud music.
They had substance.
They had something that told the story.
Yeah,
I
100%.
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So it's still in the works, but working on something that's a little bit longer. It's just right now, school and everything going on, just taking me some time. So.
Yeah. Oh, I get it, dude. Yeah. So, dang, I was gonna ask you something in the middle of that.
I mean,
no, it was about. Oh crap! It just left me. But that's what it was. So I noticed we did a little interview with the basketball team. Like we did a thank you video here recently, which I don't know if they ever posted that. I know it got approved, but like you've been shooting with the basketball team for what, 2 seasons? A season?
I guess it was last season, this season. So.
And they all like knew you and were like talking to you and hanging out and like, which was cool. What's the difference? And I think this is important because I've noticed a huge difference in this. And because we get to shoot with a lot of new people that we don't know. And one of the biggest things is we want to try and make them feel comfortable. We want to make them feel like, we're buddies hanging out, not this big formal setting and, stick a camera in your face and tell me this line and do a good job. Yeah. We were there on that basketball shoot. We had never shot with those guys before. I mean, we had shot the crowd at the game, but we had never focused on the players. You've been focused on the players, and they all knew you. Tell me the difference, in your opinion, of being new to something, but then new to people that you're shooting with, and then having a relationship with them, and them knowing you, and how much better and easier it is to shoot once you have confidence that, hey, I know this person. Like I remember the first time I shot with Chuck, I didn't know him. Now I've filmed with him for 12 years, and it's like it's second nature. Like we can finish each other's sentences half the time. Like, talk to me about, like, what you've noticed in terms of, like, from the beginning of starting to shoot with them to, like, now, like, you have a relationship with them. Like, how has that changed things?
I guess definitely for sports, it's how comfortable I am sticking a camera in their face, in the heat of a moment. Like, after warm-up, say I'll do a huddle. How, like, in the beginning, I would have felt very uncomfortable, like, getting right up maybe inside the huddle or like, putting my camera right down on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like even with like Lumpkin football, like even starting out kind of just tiptoeing,
Yep.
where can I be, where can I not be? Just now knowing who the people are, having a relationship with everyone in the facility.
Yep.
It's not just the players. I think, is the difference between like kind of how you shoot and if you're a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, 100%.
I think definitely shooting like, the more you shoot places, the more comfortable you get with it. And it's like Lumpkin football. Last year I would be in places that now I'm like, hey, like I can get in the sideline right here and get this shot. Where last year I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go there.
You won't push that envelope at all.
Exactly. So I think it's just once again like I've been shooting UNG basketball. Now I'm comfortable going into the locker room. That was kind of this year I kind of started doing that. But like last year I was like, heck no, I don't want the coach yelling at. I don't want to walk in there after a game and he'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
So and then I was like asked him this year and he's like, oh yeah, you've been around. Like I know you're not gonna take whatever I say.
Yeah, you've built rapport with them, so now they'll let you do it.
So, and I think it's important that even if it's the first time shooting with a client, that you just try to humanize it.
Yeah,
Don't be like,
100%.
oh, I'm just showing up with a camera to do my job. Like, have a conversation about maybe not camera stuff. Oh, how you doing? That kind of stuff. I think that
it's crazy important.
It makes them feel more comfortable around you and having a camera around.
Yeah.
Too, so
No doubt. Yeah. No, that's very, very well said and very, like I said, very mature for an 11th grader. I mean, it took me a long time. I was very, very uncomfortable when I first started doing this professionally. Like I didn't have the confidence to be able to walk up to somebody and try and get something or, get a shot. And like I know a lot of guys are really timid, especially on the hunting side. They'll be filming a client, and they, something's said or something's done, and they'd have liked to gotten it, but they weren't filming at the time or whatever. And they're like having the confidence to say, hey, can you do that one more time? Or hey, can you say that one more time? I didn't have a good audio or whatever the case may be. And being able to get that sound bite or that B-roll shot that, I saw him get I saw him grab his bow out of the top of the truck and how it came through the sun. Like that would be a really cool transition of getting in the blind or out of the truck. But I wasn't filming and I'd like to get that. Can you just set your bow up there and do that? Most guys are very timid, especially if it's the first time shooting with them. They wouldn't say, hey, man, do you care to put your bow back up there and do that one more time and let me get a shot of that? The sun's in a cool spot. They would just not say anything and not get the shot. Whereas it's so important to where not only once you build rapport for somebody, like I'll tell Chuck to do something 12 times until I get it like I want. And if he complains about it, I'll be like, shut up, we're going to stay here until we get it. Versus, like the basketball team, like if they did some cool thing and you didn't get it, you would have been like, I'm not going to ask him to do it again. Yeah. Versus
now I'm like, hey,
run that back. Yeah, do that again. I think that's incredibly important is creating that rapport, humanizing it, just like you said. But like, creating that relationship with the people you're filming, or at least trying to. Like, when we did that shoot with the basketball guys. Like we brought everybody from the office. We kind of got our roles, and like I kind of played the role of the producer, like talking through it with the guys, kind of what I wanted them to say, let them talk to. And speaking of, those are like the most respectful, nice guys ever. Like crazy, crazy nice dudes.
I love those guys.
Dude, like I was crazy surprised at like just how like they shook my hand, looked me in the eye, yes sir, stuff like that. I'm like, man, that is not something you see a lot of in any age now, much less, college students. So that spoke a lot to their coaching and their upbringing and all that stuff too. But side note, and it was really cool to see them, dapping you up and talking to you and hanging out with you. But I think next thing I want to talk about is kind of like, the eras that we grew up. Obviously, I'm significantly older than you are. I've been out of school longer than you've been in school. So talk about like where do you get your inspiration? I know pretty much all you do is consume stuff on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Really? Do you watch any TV? Do you watch any long form? Really, or do you like?
But it's definitely a lot less than what I'm.
Like what do you watch long form?
I like watching some ESPN like 30 for 30 stuff.
So pretty much sports.
I love sports. Let's get that straight. I love sports.
What's your favorite sport though? Like if you had to pick
to watch?
Yeah. Football. Yeah. See, I don't know if we can get along on that. I mean, I like football. My wife loves football. I'm not a football guy.
Baseball
guy. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a smart person sport. You would understand.
Okay. I'm smarter than him.
No, I get it. I mean, I understand the reason people like football. It's just not my sport.
I mean, I played soccer for.
Did you?
12 years.
Yeah.
So.
Why'd you quit playing soccer?
Long story.
Long story. I got you.
Story.
See, I've not ever been a soccer guy, but my oldest, she's 11. She's playing, what's it called? Club soccer out of Dawsonville.
UF Mountains. Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's not like actually looking like soccer, and like they've got a really good team. They're like 7-1-1, and they just crush little girls, man. It's really fun to watch. They've only lost once, and it was a really close game. I don't like close games. I like crushing them pretty good. That's a lot more fun to watch. But we played this one team because I can't remember. There's like some ranking system for soccer.
Yeah, it's like SECL 1, SECL 2.
Yeah, my wife played soccer through her whole life up.
Yeah.
She said she was going to go play UNG, but she decided she didn't want to play college. I'm like, yeah, I don't think she can walk and chew gum at the same time. But she says she could have. But yeah, she tried to explain all that to me, and we played this one team that was like a premier team supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, we beat the crap out of them, and then the next day, and we're not supposed to be ranked that high. And then we played this other team that was like ranked like one above us, and I'm like, well, we just beat this premier team. We're going to smoke them, and they like beat us by 1 or 2 goals. But I need an explanation. Okay, sidebar on this podcast. The rule in soccer, offsides, is a bull crap rule, and I needed explain it to me.
So you cannot have a defense. Like
I understand the rule.
You understand the rule.
I knew, yes.
It's so you can't cherry pick. It's literally a
why defend them.
But then that
so
changes
I beat
the
you.
Game. Okay.
Exactly, it changes the game for the better.
No.
Explain.
Maybe,
okay. All right, I'll start from the beginning.
Midfielders would love it, but defenders, keepers, and goalies would hate it.
Okay.
Keepers and goalies.
Yeah.
Because they would have a striker who would go sit basically in the goalie's face.
Yep.
And it would be awful. It's not. Gosh. Okay, I love the.
Okay, I can see that. Oh, I'll give this to you. For them just to hang out and wait for somebody to kick it all the way across the field and kick it in, I could see that. But if I outrun you,
that's not the whatever of it.
No. Okay, when they call off sides, the ball is and there's a line of defenders 3/4 of the way down the field. Yep. If your player is 1 step past them, it's offsides.
When the ball is kicked.
No, even before the ball is kicked. I can't have 1 step.
Nope, you can't.
Defender.
Okay.
Somebody defend.
Stand on the line with her. The second the ball is kicked, now you can go. It's not when the ball gets there, it's when it's kicked. So if you just want to play a ball over the top and let them run onto it, if they're faster than the defender, they outrun them. Now it's 1-on-1.
Communist sport.
Okay. I could argue with this with you on this all
I don't
day.
know enough about soccer to be dangerous.
I start talking formations.
No,
and positions
God, no,
and
don't get into that. So our little girls team put on a passing clinic this last game, stomped these little girls. It was great. It was great to watch. But dude, they were physical. This little girl got a red card or a yellow card in freaking 11U soccer, and we're like, give that girl a red card. This is bull crap. Like I was getting fired up.
You would think,
dude,
that
it's serious, man.
I've broken my wrist 2 times playing soccer.
I don't know. I'm gonna see. I gotta see you get fired up, Sam. I haven't seen you get fired up yet. I'm gonna have to see this. I like it. Yeah, because all you gotta do is to get Ryder fired up. This will be funny. Just talk to him about how he wasn't an athlete formerly. He gets so mad because
he's like the only one in the
I played baseball in college. Clay did, Joe did, or Ryder didn't. So we'll start talking about baseball, and Ryder just gets pissed. I'm so tired of y'all talking about being washed-up athletes. And then we're like, well, sorry, you're the only one that didn't play college sport. Oh, he gets fighting mad.
The other day he was talking about he could take a yard. I was like, no way.
Dude. Then he wants me to race him on a bicycle. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not Lance Armstrong in this. I'm not doing it. Oh, he gets, dude, you want to get him fired up, and he'll fight with you to the ends of the earth. I'll beat you in anything. I'm like, get in the box, dog. Right now, 37, I'll still dot you up. Let's go. Yeah, it's great. But we have a really good time with that. Yeah, sorry, got off on the soccer tangent. That just, every time they call offsides, I get pissed. Like, okay, so she was 1 step over. She beat that girl, that defender. So now we're going to get called for offsides. Makes me real mad. Anyway, I don't even remember what we were talking about now. Got so fired up.
Something with short form, long form.
Oh, so you said you like watching ESPN, obviously. Yep. You're a sports guy. Yep. And you like watching football. And you watch a lot of ESPN stuff. Like, what do you watch on YouTube? You just kind of browse, or you? It
depends. I was watching recently, actually, like Nick Bear. He has BPN Sports, and he does like ultra marathons. And stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I was watching, like 1 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't supposed to be up. Sorry, Mom. I was watching like his Leadville 100 race recap.
Yeah.
It's like a 50-minute documentary story about.
Dude, do you want to know who fascinates me? Is that ultra marathoner that was on Rogan? What's her name? Oh crap! She's from Colorado, Golden, Colorado. I know where she's from. I can't remember her name. Oh, she won the Moab 240. Oh. She beat the second closest runner by 10 hours. Yeah, she's a freaking beast. She used to be a science teacher in high school and just decided to start like Forrest Gump, started running. Yep. Courtney DeWalter, dude.
She's crazy.
You need to look up Courtney DeWalter. Chick is insane. And listen to her podcast with Rogan. Incredible. She's a bad chick. See, like believe it or not, don't judge me by looking at me now. I used to be a heck of a runner. I ran a lot in college. So my freshman year of college, playing baseball, I played in junior college in Middle Georgia. And dude, they used to run our butts in the dirt. I would run, this isn't a lot for somebody that runs cross country, but I'd probably run 15 miles a week, 20 miles a week as a pitcher, and then run all the sprints that the infielders and outfielders had to run to. I weighed 187 pounds. Just slightly above that now. But I used to love to run, and I want to get back into running. I don't know if my knees will be able to take it, but like I always hated working out, hated the weight room, always have. I love to swim. I love to run when I was in good shape. I love to swim.
Running in good shape is incredible. Because I'm coming back from an Achilles injury I've had for like 8 to 10 months.
Oh, nice. So,
but I was around 50 miles a week before that.
I don't know if I can do 50 miles a week.
Yeah. I'm finally getting back in shape, but it sucks right now because it's just like I knew where I was.
Yeah.
Now I'm back, where I was before.
Yeah.
But
so do you watch anything other than sports?
Not really. I mean,
just sports.
Big sports guy.
So I'm going to give you a piece of advice.
Okay.
So I used to only watch hunting and baseball, really the only two things, because that was the only things I really cared about. There's a big world out there.
Yep.
And especially when it comes to what we do for a living or what you're hoping to do for a living one day, I find my inspiration outside my genre all the time. I literally have a notes in my phone and I can show it to you. When I'm watching virtually anything, I'm like keeping up with shots and sequencing and how they got to this and how they did that. What music are they using? How are they getting from this year to this year? How are they speeding up time? How are they slowing down time? And you'll notice patterns. How are they using establishing shots? How are they using drone shots? How are they using the tools in the tool belt to do a better job of telling a story? And I've gotten to where now I don't watch anything unless it's very high production value, very long form story driven, like episodic series that are anything from Game of Thrones to The Newsroom to all the ones I've talked about to things that are completely outside the realm, science, sci-fi and everything else. And didn't used to do that. I've always loved movies. I've always been a movie guy. But now with this profession and trying to constantly improve and one up, like there's so many amazing creators in sports. There's some really, really awesome creators in the outdoor space. But I feel like the way that you advance, especially in the outdoor space, everything in the outdoor space is 10 years behind mainstream because our demographic is generally older. It's changing rapidly. It's changing to a younger demo because of people like Seek One, because of a hunting public, because of the prevalence of YouTube and social media. It's getting younger and younger. The problem with the hunting market is the younger market doesn't have the spending power that the 35, 45-year-olds do. Yep. So that's why they're still the target market a lot of times with long-form TV. It's that, like I said, that is changing. But when I'm going to try and get inspiration, me and Ryer talk about this a lot, about like what we've watched recently that stuck out to us. And we'll talk about like, hey, I watched this documentary and it was really cool how they did this thing. Like we were talking about Night Stalker. I think it was Night Stalker, which is on Netflix. And they had a drone shot that was upside down. And I'm like, dude, but it was incredible how they did it. It was the intro to Night Stalker. And it was like crazy gritty, and it like made you like feel a certain way, and the way they sound designed it. And it was just very simply done, but like it put you in this place that made you uncomfortable. And there's a show called, it used to be on USA, called Mr. Robot. And Rami Malek, do you know who Rami Malek is? He's a very, very good actor. So this is kind of it was his breakout role. And he was this paranoid schizophrenic who was an IT professional. And he did this, he essentially was taking down this company called E Corp. And it was nicknamed with Evil Corp because it was just this huge corporation that was screwing people and doing this stuff. Well, he essentially was a hacker that was taking them down from within inside. And how that show was shot and how they would intentionally frame him with too much headroom. They wouldn't put him in the third of the frame. They wouldn't put him in the center. They would jack the frame up on purpose. And how they would light things and they would do things wrong on purpose. And it would just make you feel, as a viewer, uncomfortable. And you didn't know why. Someone like me understands the frames off. But unless you understand framing and the importance of framing, how much you can tell your audience through the subconscious, through how I can, if I'm like, I'm looking in my frame right here and I'm on the left side of the frame and I'm looking into the open side of the frame and how that's open and me and you are having a conversation and it's essentially lending itself to there. But if I turned this way and I looked into the closed part of the frame, how psychologically that just makes your viewer feel. Yeah. And it was a master class of how to make somebody, and then now let's think about how you translate that into sports. Maybe you're telling a story about, somebody on the basketball team who's somebody passed away, and that was their inspiration for the game, whatever, they won this game, and that was for their grandmother that passed away, or whatever the case may be. How can I convey that in a way that's going to, not just through the interviews or through the voiceover, but how can I convey that in my frame through the subconscious? Well, there's some really creative ways to do that. And the only way you find stuff like that, not the only way, but the main way you do that is you got to look outside your genre. And I think that's something that I've learned over the last probably 10 years is really spend my time watching masters, your Christopher Nolan's, the people out there that just
everything
everything they touch is gold, and then there's a reason for it. They just know how to tell a story. They know how to suck you in. They know how at the end of that episode you got to sit there and watch the next one, and you're gonna watch every single second of the whole thing because you don't want to miss it. And then like me, like Newsroom, and they find this one idiot like myself who just can't get over a series, and I still wanted to come back, and it never will. So it's just, I encourage you, like I know your thing is sports, but by watching things that are outside your genre,
you'll get ideas.
It's just going to open your eyes to like, I could have done that thing for this. I could have taken that same idea and used it for my documentary or for my short form or for my whatever. And it would have accomplished this thing that I couldn't figure out how to accomplish. And it's just cool to see creatives being creative and thinking outside the box. And in theory, nothing's new. Everything's been done before, but you just gotta put your own spin on it. You gotta, because everybody's got a style. Like I can show you things that were edited in this office and I can tell you who edited them because we all have our own flair, our own style, our own way of cutting, our own pacing. I'm really fast and I'm not a details guy. Like I don't, like the color's doesn't have to be nailed and perfect. Like I'm like, if it looks good to my eye and the viewer's going to like it, like I'm good with that. Yeah. I'm not like, I didn't really start editing to scopes until like probably 3 years ago. Like I'm just like, get it to where it looks good and get it out. And then, Clay's a lot like I am, and Ryer's the perfectionist. He's the guy that's like, it needs to be here and that's not good. You need to do that again.
I come in yesterday and he's sitting there like, this won't work. He's color scopes and white balance cards and all kinds of stuff.
But the great thing about Ryer, and I don't do this as much as I should, like I watch things outside the genre to get ideas, but he spends his time on YouTube trying to learn. He spends his time watching other creators and how they use DaVinci to do this and how they use After Effects to get here and how we can get the most out of our cameras. And like he's a student of his job. And that's hard for me to do because I feel like I'm working when I'm not working. But that's his enjoyment. He loves it.
I love that too.
And he's he wants to be better, and that's the way you get better. You got to want it more than the next guy. It's really the only way to do it.
The amount of times I tell you I was watching YouTube videos like, hey, I see this. But
YouTube University.
Yeah, that's something I'm telling you. That's how you teach yourself.
Yeah.
You just figure the bare basics, and then you just got to.
So perfect world. Perfect world. Money's no object. Where does Sam see himself in 3 to 5 years?
Money's no object.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to start my own company
Mm-hmm.
doing this. I'd like to do mainly sports.
Mm-hmm.
Still just got to figure out where the money is in sports.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the problem. That's the problem in every business, buddy.
because I just love sports, and I think I would like to maybe get into more of the longer form storytelling stuff, because I see them do it, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
I really like telling a story.
long form is intimidating for a lot of people, because short form, like you said, it's kind of there's not that barrier to entry. That I can, and in terms you can do a short form video in a day. You shoot it and edit it and get it out in a day, or less than a day in some cases, most cases I guess. Whereas long form, like our crowning jewel, I don't know if I ever sent you the Bluestem project. It's an hour finished. We've got 7 days shooting it and probably a month in editing it. So 5 weeks invested in that 1 hour of content, but it's good. But there was the amount of stuff. I need to show you that. I'll show you that timeline. I'll have Ryder show it to you. It's impressive. I didn't edit it. I helped shoot it. But the amount of time and effort and thought that went into that project, you couldn't have paid us for all the hours. It was amazing. It was incredible how many hours we had in it. And that's the best one we've ever done. And that's the one, if we could get paid what we deserve to get paid, that's what I'd love to do again and again and again and again. Perfect world for me, if I'm answering that question, is you give me one giant, really hard story to do a year, and that's the only thing we focus on. That would be my dream. Instead of having we have 5 or 6 really great clients that I love and adore, but again, money's no object. And I had my grandmother says I had my druthers hand me one giant documentary or one giant film or one giant series that I can put all of our efforts into.
It'd be so good.
Oh my gosh, man. And it'd be incredible. Yeah. So, dude, we've been talking almost an hour.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
You have a good time?
I did.
Well, I want you to come to our class if you can.
Okay.
June 5th through the 9th.
I already have it on my calendar.
Cool.
I think I'll be there.
And for those of you that want to come, June 5th through the 9th here in Dahlonega. If you don't come to see us, you should at least come to A, network. It's a great place for that. And B, for the food, because Jason Ellsworth is supposed to be here. And just for those 2 reasons alone, you should come. So we have a really good time June 5th through the 9th here in the office. If there's too many people sign up, we'll probably find a bigger venue. I don't know. We'll see. We like to have it here because this is where all our gear's at. It's where all our footage is at. It's kind of easy to teach when we're here. But we're used to moving gear other places, so we can do that too. But Sam, thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. We will see you next time.